Hi, I'm Chef Luis, and today we're going to learn how to sharpen a knife with an emphasis on the most important part, raising the burr. If we master this, we'll be good at sharpening knives. Everyone wants a knife that cuts like this, and when you master this technique I'm going to show you in the video, you'll see that your knives will be on the next level. But we're not going to work with this knife, but with a more basic one. But it will be just as sharp. Hi, I'm Chef Luis Jimenez, author of the book A Chef's Journey. And today I have this video where I'm going to teach you how to sharpen, and most importantly, the most crucial part of the process, which is obtaining the burr, which is the most important factor for us to have a quality edge. We're going to use a very basic knife, a real workhorse, and as you can see, it's completely dull and doesn't cut through paper. If you look at the tomato test, you can also see that it doesn't cut through it. The first observation for good sharpening is that we need to put a lot of weight on the stone when grinding. Sometimes I see people using very little weight or pressure, and it's essential to use force. We're going to use a scale to show you. You can see about how much pressure, and as you can see it's about 8 pounds. So don't forget to press down while maintaining a constant angle as we work on the stone. What you see in the red circle is what you'll see in the following diagrams. Now we're going to our drawing board, where I'm going to represent everything that's going to happen to our knife in a very graphic way. Look, that's a representation of a sharp knife. And the other image is when it has lost its edge. As you can see, it's very rounded and exaggerated. But this is the phenomenon that happens at microscopic levels when the edge is lost. Now I'm going to show you what happens once we sharpen. Please take note, and without further ado, let's take our knife to the sharpening stone. And well, you can see that I'm applying a lot of pressure and making movements at a constant angle to raise that burr. It seems that we are starting to raise that burr, and I'm going to take my knife to rinse it to work more cleanly. But the burr is already raised. I can feel it with my fingers, but now I'm going to demonstrate it in another way. It's straightforward to feel it with your finger. It's very noticeable, but we can also use a cotton swab. And you'll notice that many fibers get stuck there. That means the burr has been raised. We're going to go over the entire knife to make sure the burr is present along the entire length of our blade. The burr is raised, and as you can see in the drawing, it's quite clear. Now what we're going to do is turn the knife over, and with this, we're going to turn that burr over. This is a simpler operation. Once we've raised the first burr, it's much easier to turn it to the other side. The burr has been turned. Now what we're going to do is give fewer passes, and with less pressure. Once we've done this, what we've done to the blade is remove a layer of fatigued material, that is, fatigued steel, and leave a completely new layer that will preserve our edge for longer. Now we're going to turn our knife over again, and most importantly, we'll need fewer passes and less pressure each time. If we do this correctly, the burr will turn, and as I mentioned, it will become easier each time, and we'll be constantly turning our knife to get rid of that burr. We're going to bend and unbend it until it becomes smaller and falls off. It's crucial to understand that when we are sharpening, we need to give fewer and fewer passes with less pressure each time, until the burr becomes weaker and smaller. This is a principle we will always use when sharpening a knife or razor. Now we're going to do a procedure called stropping, which is passing the knife on the stone, but now in the direction of the blade, not against it as we did earlier. This will cause the burr to weaken further and mostly fall off. In this process, we use almost no force. We have to do it gently and make sure it's the same number of times on each side. This is more like a caress to our knife blade. Perfect. My knife now has a pretty basic edge because I did it with just one stone, but it's an edge that works quite well. It's a 600 grit edge. We're going to do a little test to see if it's sharp enough. It's a basic edge, but as I mentioned, it works very comfortably in the kitchen. As you can see, it cuts through paper perfectly, and you can also see the tomato test, and you can see that it cuts through it very well. You've seen it. This is a very basic sharpening with just one 600 grit stone. Now what we're going to do is use a real honing rod or a traditional strop. Traditionally, strops are made of leather, but we can also use cardboard, balsa wood, or denim, like the pants we have here, since everyone has a pair. What happens here is that many of the tiny microburrs are removed in this process, leaving a much cleaner edge. And also remember that it's essential to always go in the direction of the blade when doing this. It's like a caress. If we go against the edge, we'll cut our denim or our leather. Stropping is always gentle and in favor of the blade. I hope you understood this lesson and, above all, found it useful. This is the most critical part of sharpening, the basic edge. Once we have this edge, we can work very comfortably with our knife. But in the next video, I'll teach you how to sharpen with 2 other stones so that we can refine our edges even more and achieve something that has the ability to shave or cut very smoothly. But remember that the most important thing in the sharpening process is learning to raise the burr and remove it. If you manage to do that, I can tell you that you have a significant part of the sharpening system entirely dominated and understood. And remember that in the video description, I'll leave some links if you want to buy some sharpening stones that I recommend. Many of the links are from Amazon. And if you enjoyed the video, I would love it if you could give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and believe me, that would help me a lot. And if you leave me a comment, you can count on me to respond. I send you all my best, and don't forget to keep our knives well sharpened. My name is Luis Jimenez, author of the book A Chef's Journey, which you can also find on Amazon.